So glad you are here. My name is Leslie McLean. I'm a member of the worship team, the leadership development team, and the Emerson Choir. I offer a special welcome to those of you joining us for the first time, either in person or online. We're grateful that you are here and look forward to getting to know you. As a Unitarian Universalist congregation, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of each and every person through anti-racism, anti-oppression, support for the LGBTQ+ community, working for reproductive justice, voting rights, and other issues as the world calls us to side with love. We seek to build a beloved community, not only here, but in our surrounding area. Everyone is invited to join us for social time following the service. Those here in person are invited to join us for light refreshments in our fellowship hall on the first floor behind the sanctuary, using this hall. Those of you online are invited to stay online and speak with each other after the service. At 11:25, please join us for religious exploration and small group activities. There will be worship reflections here in the sanctuary, and additional offerings are listed in your order of service. This morning, I'm pleased to introduce our speaker, David Morgen. He has been teaching literature and writing at Emory University for the last 15 years. In May of this year, he graduated from Candler School of Theology with his Master of Divinity degree, and he is now a candidate for Unitarian Universalist ministry. He spent the last 2 years as the ministerial intern at the UU congregation of Gwinnett. His home congregation is Northwest UUC in Sandy Springs. Please join me in welcoming David this morning.
Each Sunday, we pause to light our chalice as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism and our commitment to be a beacon of love in the world. And our chalice lighting this morning is Be About the Work by Andrea Hawkins Camper. May we see all as it is, and may it all be as we see it. May we be the ones to make it as it should be, for if not us, who? If not now, when? This is answering the cry of justice with the work of peace. This is redeeming the pain of history with the grace of wisdom. This is the work we are called to do, and this is the call we answer now, to be the barrier and the bridge, to be the living embodiment of our principles, to be about the work of building the beloved community, to be a people of intention and a people of conscience.
Now, in the spirit of love and the beloved community, let's greet and welcome each other to this new day as we share our congregational affirmation. We need not think alike to love alike. In the spirit of love and the beloved community, let's greet and welcome each other to this new day. In the sanctuary, feel free to move around to offer greetings, and for those online, please feel free to use the chat to introduce yourself or unmute to say hello. have a reading. It's called An Offering, and it is by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Most summer mornings of childhood, I woke to the sound of the outhouse door, the squeak of the hinge followed by the hollow thunk as it shut. By the time my brother and sisters and I emerged from our sleeping bags, the sun would just be topping the eastern shore, pulling mist off the lake in long white coils. The small 4-cup coffee pot of battered aluminum, blackened with the smoke of many fires, would already be thumping. Our family spent summers canoe camping in the Adirondacks, and every day began this way. I can picture my father in his red-checked wool shirt, standing atop the rocks above the lake. When he lifts the coffee pot from the stove, the morning bustle stops. We know without being told that it's time to pay attention. He stands at the edge of camp with the coffee pot in his hands, holding the top in place with a folded pot holder. He pours coffee out on the ground in a thick brown stream. The sunlight catches the flow, striping it amber and brown and black as it falls to the earth and steams in the cool morning air. With his face to the morning sun, he pours and speaks into the stillness. Here's to the gods of Tahoz. The stream runs down over smooth granite to merge with the lake water as clear and brown as the coffee. I watch it trickle, picking up bits of pale lichen and soaking a tiny clump of moss as it follows a crack to the water's edge. The moss swells with the liquid and unfurls its leaves to the sun. Then and only then does he pour out steaming cups of coffee for himself and my mother, who stands at the stove making pancakes. So begins each morning in the North Woods, the words that come before all else. I was pretty sure that no other family I knew began their day like this, but I never questioned the source of those words, and my father never explained. They were just part of our life among the lakes. But their rhythm made me feel at home, and the ceremony drew a circle around our family. By those words we said, "Here we are." And I imagined that the land heard us, murmured to itself, "Oh, here are the ones who know how to say thank you." I knew that in the long ago times, our people raised their thanks in morning songs, in prayer, and the offering of sacred tobacco. But at that time in our family history, we didn't have sacred tobacco, and we didn't know the songs. They'd been taken away from my grandfather at the doors of the boarding school. So as I grew to adolescence, the offering began to leave me angry or sad. The circle that had brought me a sense of belonging turned inside out. I heard in the words a message that we did not belong because we spoke in the language of exiles. It was a second-hand ceremony. Somewhere there were people who knew the right ceremony, who knew the lost language, and spoke the true names, including my own. But still, every morning I watched the coffee disappear into the crumbly brown humus, as if returning to itself. In the same way that the flow of coffee down the rock opened the leaves of the moss, ceremony brought the quiescent back to life, opened my mind and heart to what I knew, but had forgotten. The words and the coffee called us to remember that these woods and lakes were a gift. Ceremonies large and small have the power to focus attention to a way of living awake in the world. The visible became invisible, merging with the soil. It may have been a second-hand ceremony, but even through my confusion, I recognized that the earth drank it up as if it were right. The land knows you, even when you are lost. Please rise in body or voice as we join together to sing hymn number 298, Wake Now My Senses.
Good morning. I'm Susan Ullman, member of our Emerson Pastoral Care team. Now let's share a sacred time in our service by reflecting on matters of the heart. Thank you, Leslie McLean, for joining me in this ritual. For the morning ritual, we have water and we have river stones. The stones are smooth and the stones have weight. They indicate life's pleasures, times of ease and joy, and life's burdens, times of heaviness and sorrow. The water in the bowl receives these stones with ease and calmness, and it holds them in a sacred embrace. Each week, we invite you to write a joy, sorrow, or concern statement in this book that's kept on the clear podium back there. Or send your statement to pastoralcare@emersonuu.org to be read at this time in the service. If you've joined us online, we encourage you to create this ritual wherever you are. Place a stone in a bowl of water nearby to honor what's in your heart. We begin by placing 3 stones. The first is in honor of the Cherokee and Muskogee nations of indigenous peoples who lived here before us. The second is for those wrongly enslaved here who labored on this land. The third is for all those hurting in current conflicts across the globe, including the Middle East and Ukraine. Now, within our community, we share these joys, sorrows, and concerns. From Reverend Deborah Morgan Bennett. It is with extreme joy that I announce the birth of my granddaughter, Lila Sage Feiman, Feiman. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Born October 17th, I believe that was Tuesday. Baby, mom, and dad, and grandma are all doing well. Congratulations, Reverend Deborah and family. From Bernadine Cataletta, a concern. I fell while visiting our daughter and broke my arm. It's healing, but it will take more medical help and some time to knit back together. We appreciate your kind thoughts and healing wishes, and I'm sure she would love to receive them. From March Price and her husband, Jim Huey. My husband, Jim, was hospitalized October 13th for congestive heart failure, complicated by kidney issues. We hope he will be able to have a cardiac catheterization soon for diagnosis and treatment of his conditions. We appreciate your prayers and good wishes for Jim's recovery. Many thanks to those who reached out to us. We're in gratitude to all of you. March. Another concern from Gail Tarrin. Mary Tarrin's mother-in-law, Gail, is in the hospital with cellulitis and possible MRSA, and I believe that means methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus bacteria. Okay. Healing thoughts and prayers are appreciated. We have a sorrow from Christy Ogle. My brother Dean Wyatt Ogle, age 88, passed away peacefully Tuesday night with his sons by his side. May peace and healing be with his many kids and his extended family. Our hearts go out to you, Christy, and to the family. I ask Leslie to add another stone for those concerns silently held in our hearts. And I have one more statement, a sorrow statement from Lynette Carlisle. Dearest, dearest Emerson friends, thank you from the bottom of my heart for the outpouring of love and support for Mark and for me. He was happy to be on his hike this past month in Virginia on the Appalachian Trail, and looking forward to more adventures. I am grateful for that. Know that I am reading all of your messages and your notes, and I feel loved and uplifted by them. She goes on to say, I believe we heal our pain and our sorrow through expressions of love and compassion out into the world around us. May we all be healed together. When you remember Mark, I hope you feel loved and you are inspired to live your best life. He would like that. And she adds, we are planning Mark's celebration of life service for early to mid-January of this coming year. I'm going to light another candle in honor and in memory of Mark Robert Horn. At this time, you're invited to say out loud or type into the chat if you're online who or what you're holding in your heart today. My sister Barbara. In thankful awareness, let's speak the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness together. Please say the words with me. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. Blessed be.
One way we put our prayer of loving kindness into action is by partnering with other organizations who work to bring love, kindness, and justice to the world. We encourage our members and friends to support their work financially as we share our weekly collection and also by participating in direct action. Our Share the Basket partner for October is the Must Ministries Breakfast Program. Must Ministries serves breakfast daily for clients at the Must Hope House in Marietta. Once a month, Emerson provides the food and Emersonians volunteer to cook. We usually plan now for 75 breakfasts and, if possible, set aside 30 additional meals for those waiting outside. Emerson volunteers cook and serve breakfast every second Monday, plus Thanksgiving and Christmas, bringing the groceries and starting cooking at 5:30 a.m. to serve by 6:30. Our Must Ministries Breakfast Program is a great way to serve our community. Please give generously to keep this program going. For those in the sanctuary, as the basket is passed, please feel free to offer a donation or see in your order of service other ways to give. For those online, go to emersonuu.org and select the Giving tab to donate. All donations, unless otherwise specified, are shared equally between Emerson and our partner organization.
Am I on? Okay. Can I have the young and the young of heart come up here and sit by me for our story today? Okay, so before we start our story, we're going to talk a little bit. All right? What do I have on my shirt today? I know I look like walking wallpaper today. I've already been told that. But they're faces and people, right? So, today we're going to talk something about people and how very special they are. We have a special book today called Life, Light, and Love. And before we start the story, we need to talk about one concept. In the story, they talk about the God spark. Now, in every religion across the world, whether you are Buddhist, you have Buddha. If you're Christian, you have God. If you're pagan, you have goddesses and gods. Multiple people, right? And so all of those religions believe in something called the divine. And the God spark, even though we're using the term God, is really the divine spark. It's what makes us special inside, okay? So as we read this story, I want you to remember that this is the thing that is special. And right here, I am hopefully going to be able to light this candle. Hopefully everything's going to work. And this is going to represent our divine, okay? All right, so let's get this story started. Are we up on the screen? Oh, it was. Okay. A child is born on earth. A new light shines in the universe. This light, the light, is the spark of God, which is in all of us. God loves earth as much as we do. Mountains, clouds, apple trees, oceans, and moons. How many of you like the ocean? Raise your hand. I do. I love the ocean. Dogs and bogs and frogs. God loves us more than we can understand. Someday we will. People wonder about the meaning of life. That's a big, heavy thought, isn't it? The meaning of life is love. Like a tiny seed, we extend our fragile roots and our tender leaves. As we grow, we reach out our arms to others, to the world, and to the universe. We see that we are all connected. We grow by being kind, by sharing, by loving each other. We grow by learning that if we hurt others, we hurt ourselves, because we are all one. This lovely planet is our home for now. We need to cherish and protect her. So Earth is always changing, and this can be frightening. Can you name something you see in that picture that's changing? What is in that picture? Oh, are we behind? Oh, well, here, let me show you. What do you see? Weather can be very scary. Tornadoes, lightning, ooh, pretty scary. There is no reason to fear change because we are eternal beings. Our earthly lives are important because we are learning compassion, kindness, and generosity. We are teaching others to not be fearful. We are finding our God spark. As our souls grow, we approach joy, love, light, and paradise. All right, so I have two helpers here who are going to help me so we can have a conversation. They each hold a candle, and I'm going to let the divine light their candle. So go ahead and light your candles. All right. Well, you got to come closer. Oh.
The divine's not sure about you.
Yeah, Theo, it's going to take a little bit extra here. All right, so there's our spark, right? What makes you happy? What makes your spark glow? Can you tell me? What makes you happy? Go ahead.
Feeling the breeze.
Feeling the breeze. That can make you very happy, right? All right. So let's say Natalie, she's feeling kind of happy. She has a bad day at school. She has a report due. It's not going very well. She can't find the information. Her teacher's kind of cranky about it. And her mom says, you can't do your favorite weightlifting because you're grounded until that report is done. What is going to happen to her spark? Oh, her spark went out. No. So what can she do? What can happen? What can we do to get that spark back? Light it. And who can light it for her? So, if you see your friend or your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad without their spark, what can you do?
Help them.
Help them. Very good, because that can go. All right. So now they both have had a really bad day. Okay? I mean, they are just in trouble. Their best friends did not call them when they were supposed to. They didn't get to go out to McDonald's with their best friend. It was terrible. What happened? Now they don't have a light. Where else can they go to get their light lit? What was this? This was your divine. You can always go back to your divine and talk to them, and that can help you light your spark again, right? All right, let's sing our song of dedication. Yes, and let's blow out the candles. Thank you. Is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to speak knowledge and freedom, to serve womankind in fellowship. Thus do we covenant with each other. Thus do we promise to each other. All right. Are you going to come with me?
Our centering moment is a poem by Joy Harjo called Praise the Rain.
Helping my team.
Praise the rain, the seagull dive, the curl of plant, the raven talk.
Practice to be a neighbor.
Praise the hurt,
Did you?
the house slack, the stand of trees, the dignity. Praise the dark, the moon cradle, the skyfall, the bear sleep. Praise the mist, the warrior name, the earth eclipse, the fired leap. Praise the backwards, upward sky, the baby cry, the spirit food. Praise canoe, the fish rush, the hole for frog, the upside down. Praise the day, the cloud cup, the mind flat, forget it all. Praise crazy, praise sad. Praise the path on which we're led. Praise the roads on earth and water. Praise the eater and eaten. Praise beginnings. Praise the end. Praise the song and praise the singer. Praise the rain, it brings more rain. Praise the rain, it brings more rain.
When I was a boy, each week on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. And when I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still. But now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything, everything, everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. Holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips. But now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. But I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Child's face, say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, and say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. But I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now.
I really love that chapter from Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer that Leslie read so beautifully from a few minutes ago, even though my childhood was very different from the one that Kimmerer describes. In my family, there were no rituals of any kind, really, let alone rituals that helped me to feel connected to the earth or to express gratitude. I grew up among the strip malls of Broward County, Florida. And there was precious little in my life as a child that ever made me feel something like a deep connection with the natural world. There were a couple of canoe trips on the Peace River, But when we went camping, there were no moments where my mother thanked the spirits of the river or anything like that. The first time I really remember feeling powerfully connected to the earth around me was when I was in college, and I spent the summer on the island of Andros in Greece. My history professor had purchased 12 acres on the island and had just founded a nonprofit organization there. This was not long after the former nations of Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia had collapsed and broken up, leaving thousands of children trapped in orphanages there who were politically stateless. So the nations that formed after Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia broke up wouldn't give those children citizenship because of their ethnicities or because of the burden of caring for them. So they couldn't go anywhere. Nobody really wanted to care for them. They were just stuck. Everyone said they were someone else's problem. So this nonprofit was going to create a school on these 12 acres in the Cyclades and smuggle as many of those children out of their orphanages onto the island and then educate them. And I was part of the first group that got to go to work preparing the grounds. I spent the summer building terraced walls where olive trees would eventually grow and helping to build a cistern to catch and store rainwater and other such manual labor. It was my first trip outside the United States. I had no idea what I was doing, and I spent almost everything I had on the plane ticket there and back. I had like a handful of I don't know, it was $20 or something like that besides what I needed just to get there and back. It was a big adventure for me, and I learned all kinds of valuable lessons on that trip. There was a small house on the property with one bedroom, a bathroom, and a tiny little kitchen living space. There was an ancient circular threshing floor where grains had been threshed and winnowed, surrounded on three sides by the curving mountain sides cut into steep terraces. When I arrived, my professor explained to me that in ancient times, they would bring sheaves of grains and toss them into the circle. Then donkeys would be led around and around the circle, dragging a heavy wooden board behind them, which would tear the ears of grain from the stalks and loosen the grain itself from the husks. The broken stalks and grain would be caught up by the wind that swirled through the curving cliffs of the mountainous terrain and spread all around the area, returning to the soil as fertilizer. He also described how, whenever there were public events, the speakers would stand right there in the circle as people sat on the curving terraced walls around them, forming a natural amphitheater that carried their voices clearly to their audience. Again, I had grown up in South Florida, where the oldest human activity I knew of was the Vizcaya Museum that was so ancient that it was built without air conditioning. And now, here I was, standing on this small, hard circle of ground where people had worked and played literally for many centuries, where in a very literal sense, the structures of theater and public speaking as we know them were born. But what I remember most of all from that summer on Andros were the stars. I tossed my sleeping bag on that threshing floor, and that's where I slept every night for the 6 weeks that I was in Greece. The stars were like nothing I had seen through the light pollution in Florida. I, of course, knew that the Earth is spinning in the galaxy known as the Milky Way, but I had never understood that name until I saw the stars spilling across the sky in multitudes. After a hard day of carting large rocks up the mountain or digging with a pickaxe and a shovel, I would lie there at night and just stare at the stars for hours. I had seen a shooting star or two as a child, but under that night sky, the shooting stars were frequent, and they lasted long enough to actually follow them for a few seconds with my eyes as they streaked across the arc of the sky. Lying there, staring into the stars and feeling the vastness of the universe, I felt as though I might fall into the depths of the universe and float away amongst those stars. And then I had the transcendent realization that I, in fact, was floating away, that I had fallen into the universe, that I am a part of this grand celestial dance of stars and planets and comets and nebulae and meteors. I may be riding the back of this planet we call Earth that is tied to the tail of Sol at the center of a string of 8 or 9 planets as we whiz through the universe, but I am floating through the celestial sea that created me. I am at one with the universe. I wondered where in that vast ocean above me had been the star that exploded to make the dust that accumulated into this stellar system I call home and begat the elements that make up my being and course through my veins. It's the same stardust we all share as we eat and breathe and drink, as we are born and as we die. I am a manifestation of the universe as much as the sun and the moon and the rest of the stars, as far away as they may seem. I can touch them all. I hold them in my hand. They are my hand, and we are all of that same stardust. However we want to divide ourselves up, nations, races, species, animate, inanimate, animal, vegetable, mineral, we're all the same. The connection is immutable. We have borrowed these bits of the universe to take shape in this way and at this time. I thought about those politically stateless children that I hoped my work would one day be serving, and how ridiculous it was that there were children wasting away without anyone to care for them because of some idea that national borders meant that they were not fully human. Which is a particularly timely problem still. We will pass away, and our borrowed pieces will return to the universe to redistribute as chance will have. We have no say over that. The footprints we leave cannot be in sand or marble or air or water, but in the connection between all the things in the universe. And that includes you and me. The stars opened something in me during those summer nights. It started with that cosmic transcendent experience, sort of like in Vivian Ryder's story earlier today. I felt a new light shining in the universe, divine spark, and it made me fall in love with the earth in a way that I had never experienced before. But then when I had flown back to Florida and gone back to work and school under the streetlights and the neon signs instead of the light of the moon and the stars, I really wanted to hold on to that sense of wonder. I started to think about ways that I could be intentional in my practices and thoughts so that I could hold on to that feeling of connection with not only the earth, but the universe. I started to construct little rituals for myself to try to remind myself of the way that I had felt that summer. I tried to make it a point to pay attention to the beauty that was available to me, even if it wasn't the overwhelming splendor of the Cyclades. I made up some small ways to remind myself to be grateful for the natural world that surrounded me, even in South Florida. And then, like Robin Wall Kimmerer, at some point I began to feel what I guess would be a version of an imposter syndrome about the whole thing. I guess it dawned on me that these homemade ceremonies I was performing were inadequate, that, to quote Kimmerer, somewhere there were people who knew the right ceremony, who knew the lost language and spoke the true names that I was not privy to. I don't know exactly when that feeling faded, that imposter feeling, but I suspect it had something to do with becoming the parent of 2 daughters. They grew up in a fairly urban area of Atlanta, but we frequently went out into the woods and camping. Seeing their sense of wonder at the natural world reawakened that feeling for me. Finding or creating rituals that we could practice together when we were out in the natural world or when we were at home in our urban spaces that reminded us that we are part of an interconnected web of all existence was a deep and important way for me to parent my daughters. My 2 daughters now are young adults, college age, traveling around the world themselves. My youngest daughter right now is in Edinburgh, Scotland, studying abroad for this semester, and my older daughter spent a semester in Amsterdam a couple of years ago. I can see the power that has come for them of experiencing this sense of interconnectedness and of the larger scope of the world around them. I'd like to return to Robin Wall Kimmerer's chapter as I bring this sermon to its conclusion. Kimmerer went back to her father years later and asked him, where did that ceremony come from, the coffee pouring ceremony? Did you learn it from your father and he from his? Did it stretch all the way back to the time of the canoes? He thought for a long time, she reports, and then replied, no, I don't think so. It's just what we did. It seemed right. And that was all. And then, after some weeks went by, she spoke to her father again, and he said, I've been thinking about the coffee and how we started giving it to the ground. You know, it was boiled coffee. There's no filter. And if it boils too hard, the grounds foam up and get stuck in the spout. So the first cup you pour would get that plug of grounds and be spoiled. I think we first did it to clear the spout. It was as if, she says, he'd told me that the water didn't change to wine. The whole web of gratitude, the whole story of remembrance was nothing more than the dumping of the grounds. But you know, her father said, there weren't always grounds to clear. It started out that way, but it became something else. A thought. It was a kind of respect, a kind of thanks. On a beautiful summer morning, I suppose you could call it joy. That, Kimmerer tells us, is the power of ceremony. It marries the mundane to the sacred. The water turns to wine, the coffee to a prayer, the material and the spiritual mingle like grounds mingled with the humus, transformed like steam rising from a mug into the morning mist. What else can you offer the earth, which has everything? What else can you give but something of yourself? A homemade ceremony, a ceremony that makes a home. And now please rise in body or voice as we join together in song as we sing hymn number 1064, Blue Boat Home, from the Teal Hymnal.
Below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry seas, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on. Read the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Our closing words today are, I will not die an unlived life, by Donna Markova. I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that which came to me as seed goes to the next as blossom, and that which came to me as blossom goes on as fruit.
As our chalice is extinguished this morning, we extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. Next Sunday, October 29th, we will gather as a faith community to remember our ancestors and loved ones who are no longer with us. We will speak their names with love. As Henry David Thoreau wrote, "There is no remedy for love but to love more." You are invited to bring photos to include in the worship service. Also, in celebration directly after the service, we will gather in the newly planted Emerson Memorial Garden to dedicate that space. Two other quick announcements that I have, and then Michael Lukens has one as well. A reminder, the annual Ecumenical Thanksgiving service is quickly coming upon us. If you are interested in being part of that choir, and you do not have to be part of the Emerson choir to be a part of this choir, join us this coming Monday, 7 o'clock, here in the sanctuary for the first of 3 choir rehearsals. I believe there is some information posted outside on the bulletin board near the choir office that lists the music that we will be singing. There are links to the songs. You can hear them. Many of them will sound familiar to you because they are pieces that we have sung as a choir here before. There are 3 rehearsals. The first 2 will be here. The third one will be at Temple Kol Emeth, where the service itself will be. And the service itself is coming on Thursday, November the 16th. That's the 3rd Thursday at 7 p.m. at Temple Kol Emeth. Please join us.
All right, good morning, it's me again. So, I have a couple of things to go over real quick with you. First, to thank my helpers who helped with the candles. We didn't burn down the church today, so thank you. Second, you'll notice our bulletin boards are changing again out there. We have new Spotlight Kids. Make sure you go look, learn about them, and say hi to the kids. And then lastly, you should see this in the notebook. I would like to encourage anyone, whether you have a kid in the RE program or not, come decorate your trunk. Be a place where the kids can come get some candy. It's next Sunday, 5 o'clock. We're going to have hot dogs. Bring a side if you want. You don't have to stay for the food, but come give out some candy to some kids and make them kind of happy. All right? So there's a QR code. Scan it, or just talk to me. I don't care. If you're technology challenged, just come talk to me. So anyway, all right, thank you.
Join us back here for service reflections. Thank you, David, for a wonderful service. And now, as our service ends, go now in peace and take peace wherever you go.